Some people think the way to get ahead in your career is to take whatever you can get and push your way to the top. A new book suggests it's people who give without expecting anything in return that are more likely to succeed, meaning nice guys don't necessarily finish last. Adam Grant is the author of Give and Take. Great to have you with us.
Great to be here.
So let's break. You talk about three types of people, givers, takers, and matchers. What's the importance of kind of each of those types?
Well, these are three different styles of interaction in the workplace. So the takers are the people who are always trying to get as much as possible, and sometimes that helps with when you need to be aggressive and assertive. The matchers are the people who try to keep an even balance of give and take. So it's quid pro quo. If I do you a favor, I want an equal one back. And if you do me a favor, I feel like I'm in debt until I've settled the score. And that's a great way to keep things fair and have even exchanges. And then the givers are the people who basically help others with no strings attached. And that contributes a lot to knowledge sharing, mentoring, and often creativity and innovation.
But, people are conniving beasts, and they may look like one thing and be another. How can I tell if they're being honest with me?
Well, I think that what we see among the real takers is a pattern of basically kissing up, kicking down. So, Kevin, I'm sure you've seen this often. You've got people who are really good fakers when they're managing up, because they want to make sure that powerful people think that they're generous, but they let their guard down a little bit when they're dealing with peers and subordinates. And so that would be one pattern to look for.
You've just described Amanda. I can't believe it.
Nice. One of the things that's sort of powerful about this, though, I think, is because the suggestion, I guess, in terms of kind of how organizational behavior works, is that it works on connections, right? That it matters how you behave to other people. Is giving its own reward, though? I mean, there's this sense that it'll reward you as your connections grow, but is it also, are you likely to be successful because it feels good, or some other kind of equally sort of homespun reason?
Well, I think there is a little bit of evidence for that. So, there's a lot of data suggesting that people experience a little more meaning in their jobs and a bit of happiness when they're able to help others. And, I'm not suggesting that anybody should self-sacrifice or give away the farm. But if you can find ways of adding value to other people's lives that don't cost you anything, yeah, that might motivate you to work a little bit harder and strengthen and broaden your connections as well.
I love the way this sounds, but if you can apply it to a business environment, how do you measure this? How do you know you're actually making money with this information, how it makes a business better, as you claim?
I think it's really hard to do, actually. So some of the best studies, Frank Flynn at Stanford, for example, actually got engineers to rate each other on how many favors they did and how many they got back, and then tracked their productivity, and found that there was an ideal balance where if you're giving somewhat more than you're getting, but not giving a lot more than you're getting, then you're able to get more work done. You had more colleagues who were willing to help you out and solve problems, and you're also in a situation where people really respected you. The takers who are really competent threaten their colleagues, whereas the givers who are competent, they were seen as helpful resources, and so people wanted to root for them instead of gun for them. And I think that that would be one thing that I would certainly measure. I think the other way to really think about measuring whether this is paying off in the long run is to look at, okay, what's the impact on employee retention and on customer retention? If you've got people who are giving, then you should find that employees are more likely to want to stay in an organization where they feel like others are going to help them, and also that customers are going to want to keep coming back with their loyalty and referrals.
Now, we should note that although you are considered one of the leading minds in organizational psychology, you are also a prime example of this, and I know that because I read an article about you. At 31, youngest tenured professor at Wharton, you consult with major companies, but it sounds as though your giving is downright exhausting. You give of your time in a way, according to this article, that sounded like there's not very much left of you. So my question is, can you take it too far? Can it be something that takes too much out of the giver?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I think we all know people who are just completely selfless to the point of burning themselves out or letting themselves get exploited by takers. And what I find among successful givers is that a lot of them are perfectly willing to say, look, I've got my own ambitions and my own goals, and I'm going to set boundaries and block out time to get my work done and be efficient, but I'm also going to create time to try to add value to other people. And I think what's really interesting, actually, is some of the most successful givers on the planet, and Amanda, this may be less appealing to you than it is to Kevin, I would call it disagreeable givers. They're people who are not necessarily nice and warm and friendly, and in fact, they might be downright tough and mean and demanding, but at the end of the day, they have other people's best interests at heart.
Wow, you've just described me. That's fantastic. Look, this is like
that was my dream in life.
There's some psychoanalysis going on here. This is a fantastic segment. I want to put a ranking on this giving thing. Shouldn't you give more to your family than people you work with? I mean, after all, your own blood and bones.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, one of the things that happened to me as I did the research for Give and Take was I had to think about what are my priorities. And, I came to the conclusion that I wanted to give my family first, my students second, my colleagues third, and everybody else fourth. And, I have no problem with that particular prioritization, and I hope nobody else does either.
All right, we only got seconds here, Adam, but are most big company CEOs givers or are they takers?
I think it's hard to say. I think that actually you find fewer matchers among CEOs, and that in general, when people become really powerful, they go to the extremes, and they either give or take.
All right. Great to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
Adam Grant, the book is called Give and Take. He's a professor at the Wharton School. Coming up, getting up close and personal with you.